go-to spot for hikers. We've got hiking trails, we have rock climbing, great picnic areas, all right there in the heart of the city. Hey guys, this is Erin. If this is your first time to our channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about living in Richmond, Virginia, hit that like button, click subscribe, and click that little bell so you're notified every time we release a new video. Hey everyone, I'm Erin Melton and welcome to Living in Richmond, Virginia. Today's video I'm going to be discussing some of the pros and cons of living in the Richmond, Virginia area. And as we talk about this, I want you to know that when I refer to Richmond, I'm not necessarily always referring just to the city. Richmond, or RVA, is what we refer to the whole area, the city of Richmond and the surrounding suburban areas. So I'm of course going to start off with the positives. So let's talk about pro number one. The Richmond area in general is considered a very affordable cost of living. Much lower cost of living compared to other East Coast hubs such as Washington, D.C., the Northern Virginia area. So median house prices for 2025 are in the low 400s. For renters, to give you kind of an idea, if you're looking for an average cost of a one-bedroom apartment, would be about $1,400, whereas a two-bedroom could be up to about $1,800. Now, I want you to keep in mind that most of those are going to be very specific to certain parts of the city. As you go into the areas that are higher demand and also out into some of the counties, those tend to run quite a bit more. But affordability also applies to utilities. Your groceries, your transportation costs are also considered much more affordable than a lot of larger cities in the Virginia area. And Richmond is generally considered one of your best value for your money cities on the East Coast. So that's something to really enjoy. When we talk about affordability, I'm always going to focus upon housing as well, that you really have a good range of neighborhoods throughout the Richmond city area as well, so the suburbs, that it suit all different sorts of budgets. And again, message me if you want to know about some of those different things as well. Pro number two would be we have a really thriving food and art scene. We have over 900 restaurants throughout the Richmond area. Some examples of some ones that people really love would be Blue Atlas, which is located off of Union Avenue, is known for its fusion cuisine. The Roosevelt has a rotating menu. They are well known for their smoked steak and also their beef tartare. Travalia, which is in the Fan, short ribs and salmon are their particular signature dishes, but don't be afraid if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you are going to find options throughout our Richmond foodie community. When we talk about food, we have got to talk about the drink as well. Of course, Virginia in general is known for having 10 specific regions for wineries, but let's talk about what puts Richmond on the map, and that has to do with breweries. We have over 30 craft beers in the Richmond area's breweries. And for instance, Scott's Addition is actually known as the microbrewery of the Mid-Atlantic. Festivals such as the Richmond Beer Trail are centered around our beer and our brew that Richmond is known for. Art, and more art for a mid-sized city. The Richmond area really is very artsy. I love that we have a mural talking tour. And there are tours that you can go in throughout the Richmond city area. Each district, you go on them, the person will take you around, showcase all the different murals that are painted on the walls of buildings, and will tell you a really interesting and intriguing story. And then you've got to decide whether the story is true or isn't true. I have learned more about local artists and also artists that come from other areas from these tours. I really encourage you to do it. It's super, super fun. And then of course, we had the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, or the VMFA, which has a rotation of amazing exhibits, nationwide exhibits that are coming through, and then just the great staples. They have a terrific gift shop, which I'll talk about at length in many videos, other videos. They have a wonderful little cafeteria, and they have a wonderful outside and inside seating where you can enjoy all the yummy stuff they have. The outside seating has a great backdrop with a pond and very neat red reeds, a very cool modern art facility. And then they also have a great sit-down restaurant at the top of the museum. Lots of great events. Very, very artsy place. Even if you are not an art connoisseur, you're going to love the VMFA for sure. And of course, Richmond in general is simply known as an artsy, one of the top 10 artsy cities because of our renowned School of Art at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. Pro number 3, you can live in Richmond and have access to nature from anywhere. Of course, we have our James River that really separates our area between north and south of the James. Really easy access from all different parks. You don't have to live on the water to actually be able to get in and kayak, paddleboard, fish, and even have some urban whitewater rafting for sure. Belle Isle is a go-to spot for hikers. We've got hiking trails. We have rock climbing that set nature throughout the different suburbs, and great picnic areas all right there in the heart of the city and throughout the burbs as well. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about also our Virginia Capitol Trail, which is a 52-mile paved path stretching from Richmond down to the Williamsburg area. It's a bike trail, and it's really a great way to enjoy the outdoors and access to our nature. Pro number 4, our VA has a very central location. The great thing is you're only 2 hours from Washington, D.C. That's to the north. You're 2 or 3 hours from the beach. So either Virginia Beach or OBX to the east. Wonderful, wonderful location. And of course, you're 2 hours from Charlottesville, where you have the mountains, UVA, and the Shenandoah Valley. That central nature keeps you very connected to major large cities that are on the East Coast. Amtrak runs through different spots, and these are easy trains to catch. Go up into New York, go into Philadelphia, go into Boston. It's super easy to do. Pro number 5, we have a really strong community vibe. Richmond is kind of a city that has that small town feel, but big city amenities. I think that is one of the best things about living in this area. Super friendly, welcoming. We're very proud of our Southern roots. However, we are very progressive in our thinking. As I said in many of my other videos, we don't bury our head in the sand. We acknowledge both the wonderful things about our history and the not so wonderful things, and we pay respect where due in a friendly and open manner. You're gonna love all the different festivals that we have around, lots of neighborhood block parties, farmers markets galore throughout the area. You have to check out south of the James Farmer Market that runs from the spring through Labor Day. It's my favorite one for sure in the area. And then each neighborhood has its own unique characteristic. If you love a real charming historic charm in the Fanner Museum District, there's a very trendy energy in Scott's Addition, and then you have very family-friendly atmospheres out in the suburbs, in Henrico, in Chesterfield, in Powhatan, and in Hanover, all over the place. And then we have a very diverse, welcoming community. Of course, we're seeing really growing communities for Latin Americans, Asian Americans, African Americans. You got to think about, I have people that are actually coming from all over the world, all over the country, that end up here in Richmond and feel very much at home. You're gonna love that about this. So with the good always comes the not so great. So there are some cons of living in Richmond, Virginia. Every city has them, and so I like to kind of touch on that. So con number 1, all right, we do have hot and humid summers. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. The summers in Richmond are pretty intense. Our temperatures frequently hit the 90s throughout June to August, and we have pretty high humidity. Now, is it as high as Florida? No, but it's high. It's sticky, and if you are living in Richmond, Virginia in the summer, please be prepared if your car has been parked in the parking lot at the mall or the amusement park. particularly if you have darker interior, make sure you go in, turn on your car, open up the doors, turn on the air conditioning full blast, and let it cool off so you can actually breathe when you get in your car, and also so you don't burn yourself with three burns from your metal seat belts when they touch your skin. Yeah, it gets hot. So during this time, are there people still doing things outside? Of course there are, but definitely your outdoor activities may be limited a bit. You might want to be planning those around kind of early morning and also evening. That's typically when I'm going to be walking or doing all my stuff in some of those really, really sticky times, right? Your utility costs during the summer months are definitely going to be a bit higher, though I think you're going to get away with much lower costs during the winter time. So our traffic and infrastructure, I've got to talk about it as a con. I mean, we do have rush hour and major routes such as 95, 64, 295. I feel that you're going to see things snarl up more in certain areas, though in comparison to some of our larger neighbors, we have no traffic in comparison. You know, we are feeling growing pains. We are definitely building. Our infrastructure is still catching up with our growth. There's definitely potholes. There's construction zones going on all over the place. They're going to be common things that you're going to see throughout the area. You know, some of our bridges and our overpass are in need of some updates. They don't feel unsafe, but definitely the same thing that you're going to have in any growing area. You're going to have some issues there. All right, let's talk about the job market things. Of course, you have the large established companies such as Dominion Energy and Ultra offer the great opportunities. But some people that are coming with a smaller startup, it may be a harder startup than if you were in some of the larger cities in the Virginia area or in the surrounding areas as well. Manufacturing jobs once were very much a Richmond staple. They've definitely declined over the recent decades. So generally, you are in a mid-sized city, so there are going to be certain areas that have more job options than the Richmond area. Once again, if this is your first time to our channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about living in Richmond, Virginia, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and click that little bell so you're notified every time we release a new video.